Feeling caffeinated. Hi everybody, welcome back to REISSUED. My name is Andrew. Today we are experimenting with heat transfer vinyl. Before this project, I had no idea what that was. Apparently, I don't know how long this has been a thing, but it's like there's like a whole aisle dedicated to this at Michael's now. It's sort of a part of the whole like Cricut, scrapbooking, fancy cutter, are they laser cutters? I don't even know, but it's a part of that whole world which I have just been like blind to. I don't know that much about it, but essentially people are using heat transfer vinyl. You put it through your little special cutter and it makes like what would essentially be kind of like this, like a silk screen type thing, and you just iron it onto your surface and you can like make your own printed t-shirts, right? I think that's how most people use this. That's not how I'm gonna use this, because you know that would be too easy, and because I don't have one of those really expensive cutting things and I don't feel like cutting crazy designs. Heat transfer vinyl came to my attention specifically for this project. I have this blazer, and about a year ago I painted costumes for a show at 92nd Street Y, and I did a lot of like really sort of graphic white stripes. And I have this blazer on hand that I've had for many years, and it's one of those things that like is always like just on the edge of the donate pile where I'm like, I'm not really wearing this, I don't really feel like wearing it, it's not, you know, but it's cool and it's classic, but it's also kind of like stuffy and boring, and it's wool and I have sensitive skin. It's just like so many things. So I have had this idea to do a similar, what I thought would be a paint treatment on this blazer to give it a more graphic, like really strong white detail. I was getting ready to do that, and I had this white gaff tape on hand from a shoot, and I thought I would just do like a mock-up of where I thought the lines would be with the tape, and I put it on there and it looked really great. Better than paint would look because the lines were so specific and really clean. So I was trying to think of a way to get a similar effect to the tape that would be permanent. And so we ended up here. I ordered a giant roll, 12 inches by 20 feet, because when I commit to something, I commit all the way, apparently. I have never opened this up, I've never tried this, I don't know anything about it, but we are gonna learn today together by putting a design on a blazer. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up and see what we're working with here. I have watched a couple of videos online to see kind of what the technique is. Alright, so it's, weird. Yeah, I don't know what I expected this would be like. I thought it would be like a little bit thicker maybe, or a little bit, I don't know, it's like straight up plastic. That's super cool. I don't think this is very shiny. I would have liked for it to be shiny, but I think most of the stuff that I could find is relatively matte. I think the shininess here will peel off. I think that's the protect membranes, whatever that is. But yeah, so I am gonna give this a shot. I have my trusty denim from the infamous denim bin. I'm gonna be just doing a little sample on this because I'm a little scared to go straight in on the blazer. I've never done this before. So we're gonna give that a little test. I'm gonna probably watch a couple of videos and see if I can't learn a little bit more before I dive in. All right, so I have everything set up here. I have scissors to cut a little piece of my vinyl to test. My jeans are laid out. I have some parchment paper that's just gonna act as a little barrier. Apparently this is optional, but I don't really wanna take any chances on my iron getting sticky plastic all over it. The directions on the box said to heat the iron to 302 degrees Fahrenheit. My iron here does not have temperature settings, so I looked up online what standard temperatures were for like different types of fabric, and apparently wool is right around 300 degrees, so I have it set to the wool setting here. It's heating up currently. I did a little bit of research about how to do this. Essentially, you're gonna put your design down, place it where you want it, put the parchment paper over, and then put the iron down. And what everyone has said here is that pressure is a really big deal. You want to press down really hard. In fact, one of the websites that I read recommended not using one of these little like foldable tables like I am, because they said it might collapse. Mine seems pretty sturdy, so we're gonna hope that that's okay. But in that case, they recommend like an ironing mat and putting that on a sturdy table. So maybe if you have one of those, that would be preferable. I'm gonna give this a shot and see how it goes. They said if you have holes in your iron, that you wanna make sure that you're moving things around so that you're getting a pretty even heat distribution. I also removed the water from the iron. I don't want any heat or steam or what. I want heat, obviously. I don't want any steam or moisture on this, so we're completely dry. Once this is hot, we'll give this a go. All right, y'all, I think my iron is hot enough, so we're going in. Everything's been placed where I think I want it. I'm just gonna, I'm applying pressure and moving around. Say like 10 to 15 seconds, I think. Apparently you can do this too much. If you melt the vinyl too much, I think something about the adhesive stops working. So, more is not necessarily better, but it seems pretty bonded. It has these little bubbles. I don't really know quite what that means. Okay, so my little test went absolutely perfectly, I think. I got a nice seal all the way around. There's not any peeling up. The little bubbles that we saw before, I think that was just from where the film was like starting to peel off or separating or something, because I still can see kind of like the outline of where those were, but for the most part, it's pretty flat and smooth. That went pretty well, so good so far. So I wasn't planning to do this, but I think I'm gonna actually do one more experiment. You can see in my mock-up that I specifically placed parts of the vinyl directly over where there are like seams, or where the lapel meets the blazer, or where the pocket is, because I wanted to cut the vinyl and have that like open up, like to see where it should go together, but is separated. I'm not making very much sense. Hopefully the visuals will help with that. So in terms of how to do that, in my mind, I think that I'm planning to secure those surfaces together and just lay the vinyl over the top, and then iron it and bond the two, and then go back with scissors and cut right along that line to separate them again. However, I don't really know how easy it will be to know where the edge of something is and to cut accurately along the line, or if it will fuse them so well together that I won't be able to do that. I don't really know exactly how that will work. So I want to do an experiment where I use a little bit of the vinyl over a seam or over two pieces of fabric at the same time, or something to see how that transition from one piece to another will work, or how I can then cut them apart. I think it's just better to try that before I go in on the blazer, because again, once I do it, there's no going back. All right, so the experiments have gone really well. Now the next step is to go in and to kind of actually cut the shapes as they'll go on the blazer, which is gonna be mostly straight lines, but there are some places where the lines will have to curve slightly to hug the body. So that's gonna be a little bit tricky. I might end up making a template. Let's see what to do. For most of the pieces, I just cut 2-inch wide strips to whatever length I needed. I mapped out how the intersections would work since I didn't want to have any overlap in the vinyl. For the curved pieces, I pulled out some scrap cotton fabric. I stuck the rough shape of the tape onto it and smoothed out the curves as I cut around it. Here I added the extra piece of tape to get the angle right in the intersection. We are back and ready to start the heat transfer process on our blazer. I'm starting down here at the bottom because it's a nice, flat, easy line. Hopefully it won't be too hard to match everything up. So I just wanted to kind of start easy and work my way in here before I get into all the curved, fancy stuff happening at the top. So this section right here, I'm just gonna overlap the pocket. My strategy here is to leave the tape in place, the surrounding tape in place, and just peel back whatever I need to clear the area so that I get the placemat as close to what I have here as possible. But of course, I'll measure before I do each side just to make sure the symmetry is really there. But I think that would be the easiest way to not have to like start from scratch in terms of the placement. So I have my two 14-inch pieces cut. They're gonna go here at the bottom. Yeah, let's do this. All right, not too bad. It's pretty awesome, actually. All sealed in, nice and smooth. Okay, I feel a little better now. Cue the tips and tricks montage. Pinning layers of fabric together can help keep things in place when going over transition areas. Just be sure not to place them under your vinyl. I definitely made that mistake. When approaching points of intersection, you can leave the ends of your pieces loose until all the pieces are placed. Then cut them to fit together and secure them all at the same time. This helps the pieces to fit together properly. Blue painter's tape can be incredibly helpful to hold pieces in place before you iron them down. Just be sure to move the tape out of the way when it's time to iron over that section. For curved areas like shoulders and sides, ironing your jacket over a form or another curved surface can help to make the vinyl wrap properly. Originally, I was planning to have these pieces cross here and meet up under the sleeve, but as it is now, it doesn't really bother me that the front piece just sort of finishes there because it does disappear beneath the sleeve. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna do one straight line right here at the back that goes down that center seam and then splits into two over this little flat thing. I think it'll be cool to see it split like that, and it will also be a lot easier on me.